This incident occurred in the 1950s in a small locality called Vanchiur in the Indian state of Kerala. There lived a family of a boy and his sister, their parents and their grandmother. They all resided in a fairly large, single-storied house built on nearly an acre land. The house had a small front yard with a spacious backyard, filled with many coconut and jackfruit trees and flowering shrubs. The family also owned a few goats and chicken. One particular evening, as the golden light of dusk enveloped the courtyard, Sri M was playing in his backyard. He felt a strange pull towards the old jackfruit tree at the far end of the yard. He narrates the incident as follows.
I was around 9 years old when this encounter occurred. It was in our backyard. I was playing there after school, and as the sun set, I decided to go back inside and have some snacks. I was about to head back when something prompted me to turn back and walk toward the far end of our courtyard. Under the old jackfruit tree stood a tall, mysterious figure, bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun. Instead of getting scared and running back into the house, I felt calm and curious. I walked towards the man and noticed clearly, a tall stranger, extremely fair and well-built. He was only wearing a piece of white cloth that was wrapped around his waist, reaching just above his knees. He was also barefoot. I was intrigued by this strange man who had slightly brown and thickly matted long hair gathered over his head in a big knot that looked like a tall hat. He wore large brown, probably copper earrings and carried a black polished water pot in his right hand. By far, the most striking of his features were his eyes, large, brownish black, glittering, and overflowing with love and affection. He put his right hand on my head without any hesitation, and his kind voice said,
"Kuch yaad aaya kya?"
In Hindi language, the sadhu was asking Sri M, "Do you remember anything?"
I understood the stranger's words perfectly, although we spoke a different language but somewhat similar to Hindi. "No," I replied to the sadhu. He then removed his hand from my head and stroked the middle of my chest with it, saying,
"Baad mein मालूम हो जाएगा. अब वापस घर जाओ."
The sadhu said, "You will understand later. Go home now."
I still did not understand what he was trying to convey, but instantly obeyed his command. As I hurried back home, I felt as if his touch had made my heart lighter. Reaching the last step to the rear entrance of the house, I turned around to have a last glimpse of the stranger, but he was gone. There was no one there. I ran back into the house. Ever since then I tried sharing this experience with others, but could never succeed. At every attempt, I felt my vocal cords were getting restricted and preventing me from forming any sounds. I abandoned the idea after a while, convinced that I was being prevented by some unknown power from revealing the incident. It took 10 years before I could speak about it to anyone at all. The first person I spoke to about it was none other than the stranger I had first met under the jackfruit tree, my guru, whom I met again in the Himalayas under completely different circumstances. At that meeting, I was formally accepted as a disciple, but we'll come to that later. After the incident, although outwardly I looked like any other boy of that age, my personality had undergone a profound change. The inner journey had begun, and the first sign of this was that I began to meditate without even knowing the word meditation. One night, I fell asleep and woke up around midnight with a lovely, blissful feeling in the center of my chest. A tingling sensation, sort of like energy, began to move slowly up my spine. I wanted to sit up, but decided to stay lying down as I did not want to disturb my mother. I closed my eyes and tried to look inward. First, the loving eyes appeared, then they vanished, and in their place was a cool silvery light that came up my spine and filled my heart. It was a very unique experience. All I could understand was that the blissful feeling intoxicated me. I do not know how long it lasted, this first experience of a trance. My mother woke me up in the morning with a few gentle nudges. I opened my eyes and sat up. No bliss, no light, no tingling sensation. Everything had vanished in a moment. Every night since then, the meditation continued. I had some extraordinary experiences which I shall relate in the upcoming chapters. But more importantly, saintly men and evolved souls came into my life, and the writings I needed to read fell into my hands, as if by providence.
This is a chapter teaser from the book, Apprenticed to a Himalayan Master by Sri M. If you are curious about who this mysterious man is, how he happened to suddenly appear in the boy's backyard, what his connection to the boy is, and more interestingly, what are the extraordinary experiences Sri M mentioned, go ahead and get the book. It is a very interesting read. Thank you so much for watching and supporting this video. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Stay blessed and Namaste.